Hi guys, quite often I get asked about the setup on my Nexus 5 after doing one of my custom ROM reviews, and I thought it's finally time to do my setup video on my own to show you all of the apps and the features I'm using. I will do a two-part video. Part 1 will be all about the apps and part 2 will be all about the features and the setup I'm using. This saves me a lot of time so I don't have to answer the questions over and over again. So let's continue with the video. Quite often I get asked, what app do you use for Twitter? What app do you use for your gestures? Because you see I have no navbar, and I wanted to take the time and show you all of my apps I'm using really quickly, say something about it so you have a feeling what apps I'm using. Okay, let's start with the apps. Here I have my icons. I won't tell you about those because those are no apps. In media I have Orange Squeeze. I use that one to control my squeeze box. I'm pretty sure you all know still what a squeeze box is. I absolutely love it. For me, the best audio streaming client available. The next one would be Adobe Reader. I don't want to go into this Google settings. These are just the system Google apps. I think the Adobe Reader is known by everyone. Amber is a pretty new RSS feed client. I use it instead of Feedly right now. It is nice, but it has some quirks and bugs, but it's on the way and it could get nice. Apex Launcher is a third-party launcher. I have it as a backup, but I only use Nova Launcher Pro. Absolutely my favorite one, and this is what I'm using right here. The browser is a stock Android browser. The browser NB Pro. This is Naked Browser Pro. Absolutely my favorite. I already did a few videos about it, why I love it so much. It is minimalistic looking. It could be ugly looking for some others, but it is powerful as hell, and I like it absolutely. The next thing would be the calculator. That's the standard one. This is the one I'm using. I don't even know the name anymore. It has a pretty much modern or Metro UI look, but it has percentage and it works pretty reliable. Use it since ages. Absolutely love it. The next thing would be the calendar, stock Android calendar. The camera is the same. Capture notifier. I use that one to remotely trigger my JDownload or downloads if I want to set a download from my phone when I'm not at home. Chrome Beta. I think you all know what that is. Circle Alarm is my alarm app. You can use it with an alarm, just to control it. I think it works pretty nice. I use it since ages and it gets the job done. The next thing would be the clock. The standard clock. Complete Action Plus is an exposed module, but it works pretty nice if you want to change your dialog. If you hit a link and you get the list of all your browsers, you can customize the list with that. Pretty handy. I use it since it's out. Pretty cool tool. You should give it a try. The next thing would be the DSP manager. It's an equalizer app. Nothing more to say about that. Easy Money is for checking your finances and everything else. I don't use it really any much, but it's there. File manager would be the standard CyanogenMod file manager, I guess. I don't use it. Flashify, absolutely essential for every custom ROM fan. You can easily flash a boot image, a recovery image right from your Android device without having to go into your directory recovery. I really love that one. Gallery is the standard gallery app. Geizhals is a price comparison app of this site. It works pretty reliable and it's only a German thing, so don't worry about that. The next thing would be Gravity Screen and Gravity Screen Pro. I already did a pretty detailed review on this and I love it still. I haven't turned it off since I first did it on my review. I absolutely love it to turn off my device. Absolutely my favorite choice. Gravity Box is also an exposed module. It's not in the right category, but you know it's a pretty powerful tool. I don't use it really because I use custom ROMs, but it's there just to check some things from time to time. Launcher would be the stock launcher that comes with the ROM. Didn't really use it since I always use Nova. Lightning Plus is a browser, WebKit based browser. It's pretty light and as you can see here, looks pretty nice. But like I said, Naked Browser is my favorite one. Then we have Maps. Media Server is an app to kill your media server. You know, since Android, since Ice Cream Sandwich, it often hangs and kills the battery. So this is nice to kill the server. Niels, I think it's a pretty well-known app by now. gives you lock screen notifications in a pretty nicely and customizable style. I don't use it anymore. I have it still here because of floating panel, but usually I use lock screen notifications from the custom ROMs. It's a pretty new feature and I like it very much. You can check my latest custom ROM review to see more about that. Then we have Notif Pro. Notif Pro is a pretty nice app where you can set any reminder or anything else you want, set up an icon, you can have an ongoing notification, you can have a reminder, and this is then a sticky in your notification tray. Pretty handy and useful for me since I don't have a really good, I already forgot the word, a memory, yes, exactly. So I really use that a lot because my memory isn't the best. The next thing would be the Opera browser. Don't have to say anything about that. Phone, photos, also well known. Playbooks, the Play Store. Quiz Duel is a quiz app. It's a German one, so not really usable for the English listeners. Rotation Manager allows me to set for every app a certain rotation. If I wanted landscape or portrait, if it's rotation on or off, pretty handy for me because I don't like to use a certain rotation in some apps. Sim Toolkit, of course, you know. Speed Test for doing speed tests. Squeeze Control is another Squeezebox control app. This is the one I'm using right now mostly because it works pretty fast and it's pretty powerful. So yeah, okay. The next one would be Super User for root, you know it. SwiftKey, as a total SwiftKey fanatic, there's not really an alternative for that. Switcher completely replaced my recent apps. I may be thinking about even doing another review because I reviewed the beta that didn't really have much features, but usually I swipe from the right bottom bezel to get my recent apps, but now I only do this and I have access to all my recent apps via the arc. It works pretty fast because usually I get up and then my recent tasks appear, and this is just way faster and looks even better. Then we have the Torch. Trickster mod, I don't think I have to say much about that. If you use a custom kernel and want to customize it, you need Trickster. Absolutely awesome for custom kernels. VLC, a media player. It allows you to play about everything, every media file. So I use that instead of Dice Player or MX Player right now. Then we have voice search, okay, you know that. And then is Zetch. If you want to set up ringtones, notifications, icons, wallpapers. I use it for my wallpaper still, pretty nice. Let's continue. The next one would be Adaway to get rid of any sort of ads. Absolutely need this one. Then we have App Remover. This is one of my oldest apps and it just gives you a list of all your apps. You can checkmark them and just uninstall them. Pretty useful if you have to have a batch of apps to uninstall. Brightness level is a widget that allows me to change quickly the brightness level. Cache Cleaner. A cache cleaner, it has automatic functions, pretty nice. The next one would be Catalog. Catalog is something I think a custom ROM beta tester or someone like that should use if he has a problem, because it allows you pretty quickly to make catalog a log and you can just send it to developer so to show what error or bug you have. Pretty nice one. Then CPU Spy, pretty simplistic app, but it shows you what CPU frequencies your CPU uses. Then we have ES File Explorer. I think you all know that. Pretty well known File Explorer. GSAM Battery Monitor. This is an app I use religiously to check my battery status. As you can see, I'm at 14%. I use the screen for 3.5 hours over a course of 1 day and 2 hours. It gives you all the information at one glance, and I prefer it to the stock because I don't have really any useful information here. Let's continue. No lock is just a widget to turn and turn off my lock screen. I know the option is already there since Ice Cream Sandwich, but this is just a quick way if I want to turn it off. Quadrant Standard. I don't think I've used that more than 1 or 2 times on the Nexus 5 because I don't really care about any benchmarks anymore since the power of the Nexus 5 is more than enough. Don't use it anymore. Root Explorer or Call of File Explorer if you're using root, but my Explorer of choice is Solid Explorer. I've already done a review for the droid effect there. I absolutely love this one. It has this dual pane view. I can show you real quick if you can see here. And if you're in landscape, you see both at the same time. Absolutely nice. Then we have Syslog, also an app to create log files if you have any trouble for a ROM or a kernel or something like this. Titanium, one of my easily 2 or maybe 3 top apps ever on Android. For a custom ROM user like me, absolutely essential. The next thing would be ColorDict. It's a dictionary, nothing more, but it works pretty reliable and fast. Looks minimalistic, but it's okay. Electricity calculator lets you calculate some electricity if you want to know what it would cost if some certain thing with a certain wattage, how much it drains and costs. Then fare calculator lets you, if you want to go somewhere and you can easily calculate how much it would cost for you if you give the mileage and everything else. Then GMG gesture control, and that is, besides Titanium, the second most important app for me. As you can see, I have no navbar, and everything I do is with gestures, and 80% of these gestures work through GMG gesture control. The rest I use Smart Task Launcher for, which gives me, for example, this launcher, and I have some more simplistic gestures I use for with Smart Task Launcher because it's just easier for me sometimes to set it up. Note Everything is just a note-taking app. I don't really use it anymore. Then I have Spritpreise. This is an app in Germany if you want to see how much the gasoline costs at a certain where you are in the area, so you can check the gas prices. Then you have Standby Touch. If you hit that, it just turns off your screen. I mostly use it on the lock square for a double tap to turn off my screen with the knock-on feature. But since Gravity Screen, I don't really use it that much anymore. The last one would be here, Tasker. Not really much use for it, but I have it. Okay, in the next section, there is Amazon. It's the Amazon app. I'm pretty sure you know that one. Then Drive, Dropbox, the eBay app, pretty well known. Evernote, I think you all know that. Falcon Pro, Twitter client, don't use it really more. Didn't use it much in the first place ever, because I'm just using another one. Feedly, I think you know that one. Phoenix is a pretty new Twitter client. Pretty nice looking, works pretty smooth, but it really lacks of many essential features, but I think it will come. It's still a beta. Then we have Google Plus, Hangouts, pretty known. IMDb for a movie fan like me, absolutely essential. K10 Mail, I have that one for my other two not Gmail addresses, but since I mostly use Gmail, I don't use this one really much. Then I have Keep, messaging, you know that. My Deals, that's just an app if you're looking for hot deals all around the net. It's a German thing. Then People, Playstand, Play Newsstand, of course you know that one. Push Bullet, recently one app I discovered. It's pretty nice because it gives you the option to get all the notifications from your phone directly onto your Windows or your Mac as a notification. You can get it from the browser like Chrome or Firefox, but there's even an app right now where you get directly on the system of your choice. Pretty handy if you don't have your phone lying around and you get a notification. Robert, this would be my Twitter client I'm using right now as my default one. It works super reliable, has all the options I need like tweet marker, tweet longer, notifications. It has this nice card view. Absolutely my favorite one. I won't change this so fast. Splashtop and Splashtop Remote, so I can access my Windows remotely from anywhere else if I want to do something. Pretty handy. SuperTube, one of the newer ones I discovered. It's a YouTube app and it has a floating window and it works pretty reliable. I really like it. It just works, if you can see here, you have this floating window now. Absolutely like it. I also have Viral, but Viral Pro, it's a bit buggy and it's nice in idea, but it just isn't really refined yet, but it's on the way. SuperTube has some features less, but at least it works smoothly and nice. TV Today is just to see the TV program. WhatsApp, yes, still have it on my phone. Don't use it really much because I don't really use it ever much before, but it's there. Then I have WordPress. I don't use that one much anymore on my phone. Then there's the YouTube app. And the last thing would be my exposed modules. I don't really use much of them, but I only have them here so I can test some things for a review maybe or something like this. App settings, if you want to change the DPI of your device. This is one I really need. Mini MinGuard would be to block advertisements. I use oh, I forget the name. Either way, this does job better. It didn't really work for me, but it is there. Unicorn, it is to get your icons being applied system-wide. I've already done, I think, 2 videos of that, or a review at least. Pretty big fan of that one. Absolutely love it, since I have everywhere on my device the same icons and not some stock icons anymore. Exposed editions lets you customize the power, the button functions of your phone. You can set certain actions. You have a pretty high variety for all your buttons. If you have 3 buttons down here, like on a Samsung device, you can set up a certain action for everyone. It's pretty powerful. I used it a lot on my HTC One X, not so much on the One X and on the Nexus 5 anymore, but I have it like, for example, a long press on the volume up enables me to control the rotation. This is pretty handy because not unlike on Apple, we have this button to lock it. I think it's pretty useful. Exposed installer, the exposed framework installer, and yeah, XUI mod. I use that one for my animations and the system animations. I could do all this with my custom ROM within itself, but I prefer this way because whenever I switch a custom ROM, I just have to load this module and all my settings are already there. I don't have to do them manually anymore. And it has some extra features, like if you go here, you have the animation duration. I changed it to 400 instead of 500, and for me it makes a difference and I like it. So these were all my apps. In part 2 of this video, I will talk about all my settings, how I set up my gestures, what apps I'm using, in what way, and my settings in my custom ROM. All this, I don't know how long this will be because I don't really know how much features I'm actually using, but all the small things, I will talk about those. So wait for part 2. If you have any other comments, just leave them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.